A new fad is sweeping the nations. It is cluttercore. Okay, what even is cluttercore? Cluttercore might look like chaos, but it seems to me to often be a large collection of things that are organized as neatly as possible to create an aesthetic that is not as overwhelming as it could be if it wasn't organized. Also, I have a secret room to show you from my house later. Let's dive into some photos of the cluttercore people. This girl here, I don't want to say hoarder, but it's just really messy. She definitely seems to have a vibe, like she's liking things from maybe the 60s and the 70s and the 80s a little bit. This picture, it looks like her shoes are somewhat organized. Her slippers are just like life right now. Look at this one. Okay, so how to pull off an eclectic home, it says. Cluttercore without looking like a junk shop. I would agree. I think this is a little bit more. First of all, I believe that's a Freddie Mercury doll, which I think is very cool. All of these books are very organized. There are pictures on the wall. Like everything looks a lot more tidy. I think that's Jerry Seinfeld. If I were to go into this house, I would say it is cluttered, but I would say it is somewhat organized clutter. Oh man, I think I'm gonna have to check these people out on Instagram because it looks really cool. I would never say this is not neat or tidy. It's very neat and tidy. For me, I think the biggest thing is like, what is cleaning like? This is not that organized. The books don't look tidy. Like in the last picture, they were organized by color. Some of it, like this one, oh my gosh. Like, can you imagine dusting this? It's one thing to dust a bunch of books on a bookshelf and just like run your Swiffer duster thing over top. But this, oh my gosh, like that would take like at least an hour or two just to dust this bookshelf. That is why I love minimalism so much, is because it saves you so much time and stress and energy. Then you don't have to think, when am I going to find the time? And is that Devo dolls? Like that is cool. So there are times where I'm like, I want to have those things. And I think that's really cool. And in a way I can actually, like, I almost feel like a tiny bit of like, I don't think envy is the word, but there are times where I'm like, I would love that thing. That is really neat. And so maybe that is an example of like when you could have a bookshelf and put things on a bookshelf. And I will like show you my bookshelf later. And I'm not exactly sold on the cluttercore. Now, when I was growing up, there was an emphasis on ornaments with gift giving. Now, I will say for sure, my parents' house was not cluttered, and it was always clean and tidy, but there were always a lot of ornaments. And my grandparents' house, it was the exact same. Like, so here are some pictures from my grandparents' house. My grandma, she did a great job of decorating. I absolutely love how she did things. It is certainly not minimal, but it wasn't cluttered at all. And here is their cluttercore part of their basement. Okay, this is actually just their storage room, and I actually think they did a pretty good job of organizing the books. Other stuff just got thrown in there. And honestly, it was like, I mean, how many decades of life? Like 8 decades of life for 2 people. Now, I could see a case for cluttercore in certain scenarios. It seems like the goal is to have a theme or a theme adjacent theme going on. Like I said, I loved that one bookshelf that had all of those little things. Like we have little things that I would love to display, like Bob and Doug McKenzie. Do you know who those guys are? Yeah, I have a couple of little toys of those that I have had for like 20 years. I probably should take the batteries out. They're probably leaking battery acid everywhere. But those are guys where I would be tempted to put those on display somewhere because I have not decluttered them. They're actually like a very meaningful, believe it or not, sentimental item for me. They remind me of my dad who passed away this year. But I do love the idea of that bookshelf with all those things there. If you had that in that one section of your house and the rest of the house was minimal, that would be very cool. That would be maybe a little eccentric. You know, I feel like I need to start getting more eccentric in my age. So I do see a few problems, like I said, with the cluttercore. The cleaning, would be very hard in a lot of situations, especially even that bookshelf I said before it would take some time, but some people, depending on their level of the cluttercore, would be nuts. If you just had that one bookshelf, sure. The other thing is the visual overwhelm. That house with the white, with all of the like neat books, that isn't too visually overwhelming. That almost makes me want to go to that person's house and have tea and have them like have to go and take a call for like an hour and let me just like look at everything for an hour, because that would be so cool. I love to learn about people. I think that was really neat. But in a lot of other cases, I feel like there's just so much visual overwhelm, and I personally would really struggle with it. In my own house, I find calm and decluttered surroundings much more soothing and way less stressful. This shelving unit, however, has driven me batty for a little while. It feels heavy and I had way more on it, so I started removing things. In this case, I almost feel like if it was full, it would probably have the same feeling. I think it's just like the unit itself. And if it was organized and neat, that would be great. First, I'm going to show you a secret part of my house that I don't usually show. So this could be considered our cluttercore part of our house. We really like Lego, especially Lego Harry Potter, Lego Star Wars. A lot of these things were in our living room. We still have things. I said, let's just move all of the Harry Potter down here. I thought like the Hogwarts castle looked good there. Probably could move that picture of my husband and my kids. There was a plan of putting like the brick wallpaper on the wall. That would look kind of cool, right? Like the platform 9 3/4 and that. So this is kind of my guilty little area. And then at the end, it is a tad messy because let's face it, my son was doing something down here and I just shoved it at the end so I could make this video. This is an example. I mean, is this cluttercore or is this just a collection? I don't know, but I understand it. And I almost feel like it's not a bad idea to have an area where you have things, but very, very neatly organized, and you have to be able to clean it. So I love minimalism, and I feel like it is so good for us. Check out this video all about why minimalism is so good for you, why I choose it. Overall, maybe I put it on a bookshelf, but it's actually really good for a lot of us, especially those of us with ADHD. Check it out right here, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.